Now, earlier in the day, prosecutors outlined some of the items seized when they raided Diddy's homes. That included AR-15 rifles, ammunition, and images and videos of sex performances Diddy allegedly organized. Let's go to Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, former federal prosecutor, joining us tonight from Los Angeles. Thanks for joining us today. Are you surprised that he's being held without bail, and what does that tell you?
I'm not surprised he's being held without bail because these are very serious allegations: sex trafficking, drug trafficking, some of which carry mandatory 10-year sentences in federal prison. That means the judge can't go lower than amount. And of course, we know that Diddy, at least allegedly, according to the indictment, has threatened some of these witnesses and tried to bribe them. So given the nature of the charges and the fact that there's a presumption of detention for some of them, Diddy is being treated just like any other criminal defendant, despite his fame and his wealth.
Okay, so is the approach to this case similar to the way we saw the R. Kelly case being pursued?
It is similar because obviously we're talking about a RICO indictment, which is a corrupt criminal enterprise. And, we talk about racketeering. Of course, RICO is typically reserved for organizations like the mob or the cartel or street gangs, but it can apply to someone like Diddy with a large entourage. Obviously, they're being prosecuted by the feds, also in New York. In R. Kelly's case, it was prosecutors in Brooklyn, not Manhattan, but it's a very similar prosecution. But there is one key difference, and that is R. Kelly was charged with sexually abusing minors. And even though there were a lot of rumors and allegations of underage women at these parties,
this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you're having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court. But you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there. And the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thinner, and maybe being locked up in detention is starting to wear on him.
Excuse me, everybody back up, please. Get this out, I'll be out of here.
Hi, how are you feeling? How are you going to be spending the holidays?
How are you feeling today?
Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani just revealed that Diddy is facing multiple decades behind bars for his numerous criminal charges related to sex trafficking and racketeering. Diddy's family has allegedly abandoned him and stopped attending his bail hearings.
A new investigation, Discovery docuseries is uncovering some new allegations about Sean Diddy Combs.
The Fall of Diddy, as it's called, features stories from some of those who worked closely with the music mogul, and that includes Danity Kane singer Dee Woods, who was featured on the hit show Making the Band 3.
What would you say to Diddy if you had the chance to talk to him?
I honestly do not know, but I don't think you really have to say anything. As long as I'm holding my head up high and my shoulders back.
I feel like I really want to hear this whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Woods sitting down for an exclusive interview with ABC's Eva Pilgrim. She says what should have been a dream come true quickly became something else, alleging that Diddy created a verbally abusive work environment.
Somebody constantly treating you like a piece of meat, only valuing you for your sex appeal. And in some of the environments, you know, it was even scary to be by yourself.
Yeah, D. Woods is 3 of 5 members of Danity Kane who have spoken out over the last couple of years about abusive allegations during their time working with Diddy. He has denied all the allegations made against him in the documentary. He's facing trial later this year, charges including sex trafficking and racketeering, and he has pleaded not guilty.
New allegations against Diddy have surfaced, this time from former members of the band Danity Kane. Aubrey O'Day, Don Richard, and D. Woods have filed lawsuits against Diddy, accusing him of treating them like a piece of meat, valuing them only for their sex appeal. In a recent interview, D. Woods described experiencing verbal abuse and degrading comments, which she reflected on in the docuseries The Fall of Diddy.
In their letter, they write, quote, "Having reviewed these videos, it is now abundantly clear that they confirm Mr. Combs' innocence and that their full exculpatory value cannot be investigated and used unless they are electronically produced. The 9 videos at issue are the so-called freak-off tapes with victim 1 that the government has repeatedly referenced, causing wild speculation in the media. Contrary to what the government has led this court and the public to believe, the so-called freak-offs were private sexual activity between fully consenting adults in a long-term relationship. Like many Americans in the privacy of their own bedrooms, they sometimes filmed their sexual activity. These videos unambiguously show that the person alleged in the indictment to be victim 1 not only consented, but thoroughly enjoyed herself." And we believe, by the way, victim 1 to be Cassandra Ventura. This is Diddy's ex, who first filed that initial sexual assault lawsuit against Combs back in 2023. She was in that infamous surveillance footage that was published by CNN of an incident that happened in a hotel hallway where Combs is beating Ventura just while wearing a towel. It's a very disturbing video. He argues the videos don't show any orgies or celebrities or violence or coercion or threats or manipulation or evidence of anyone being under the influence of drugs, that this is not sex trafficking. Quote, "The premise that freak-offs are inherently dangerous shows that the government seeks to police non-conforming sexual activity and that it assumes, despite all evidence to the contrary, that a woman's willing participation must have been coerced." That's interesting because that's something we've long suspected, that the defense is not going to shy away from the term freak-offs. They might accept, yeah, Combs called these freak-offs, but this was entirely consensual. It was all on the up and up. It might be different to you and me, but there's nothing illegal going on here.
If the government is the government in the Southern District of New York, I can't imagine this is what they're hanging their hat on if it's what the defense describes. It's like one of those things that when you have a weakness in a case, the government has to decide how they're going to use that. My guess is they're going to use it to show that there were sex workers, that these sex workers were paid. I would imagine that they have the sex workers that are in the video to come in and describe what was going on or what happened before they went on tape. Whether or not they had drugs or alcohol or anything else, whether or not Cassie had drugs or alcohol, whether or not there was a discussion between Sean, Combs, and Cassie before the tape started. So
Right.
I think that the tape is going to be one portion of it, but the testimony of either the sex workers that were in the video and or Cassie is going to kind of tie it together. That's my guess.
Diddy's legal team has recently admitted the existence of his freak-off tapes, and they are now requesting that these tapes be handed over for review. However, Judge Aaron Subban has denied the request after prosecutors argued that Diddy planned to use these tapes to embarrass Cassie. Diddy's team is allowed to review the tapes under supervision, so their demand for copies seems suspicious. The tapes, originally handed over to the FBI by Cassie, are being claimed by Diddy's team to show Cassie happy and satisfied with him.
When the trial starts and the jury sits, will they be shown these tapes?
100%.
Will they have to watch it in court? Like during
100% in court in front of a room of people. And so that's the other thing that's awful. They are going to be watching basically porn for hours on end in front of people. So in front of victim 1, whoever it may be, there's going to be porno played in the federal courtroom.
And victim 1, would have been made aware of this.
Oh, 100%. She's probably being told right now, like, this is going to be played in open court. Your sex history, your sex life is going to be talked about in open court. All of this.
And presumably then she knows that and she's pushing forward because she hasn't withdrawn.
But don't forget this. It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. This isn't a civil case. This is the criminal case. So she could flat out tell the federal government, I don't want to participate. And they can say, we don't care. This is a crime. Crimes are against the United States, not against them. Keep calling her victim one, but don't forget, she's a witness to a crime. So it doesn't matter if she went to them in today and said, I'm not participating. Their response, we don't care. Get your ass on the stand.
Do they prep you for stuff like this in law school? Do they say, you know, you might do a case and you might have to watch hours of pornographic material and comb through it? Like, what's the semester on for this?
Well, you're exactly right. They don't prepare you for that because you understand every case is different. So you read about cases. Like, I think this Diddy case is going to be studied forever. You know, I think it's going to be studied in law school.
Interestingly, these tapes will be played in court, along with all other electronic evidence seized by the FBI. A grand jury will review all the tapes taken from Diddy's mansion. The prosecution claims these videos will play a significant role in their case, while Diddy's lawyers counter that the tapes do not support the prosecution's narrative of illicit conduct.
Here is the other thing with Mr. Burgess. He apparently says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries, her potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist, they own it.
To make matters worse for Diddy, his family is also facing legal trouble. His son, Christian Combs, is facing serious allegations of sexual assault in a lawsuit filed by Grace Omar, a crew member and bartender on a yacht chartered by Sean Combs. Omar claims that Christian pressured her to drink spiked tequila and, once she was incapacitated, allegedly groped her and attempted to force her into performing oral sex. There are also allegations that Diddy forced victims to have sex with prostitutes while he watched and touched himself. He allegedly referred to these situations as freak-offs and often recorded them. Further allegations involve his other son, Justin Combs. In a separate civil lawsuit, music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones claims Justin solicited prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. A lawsuit even includes a photo of Justin with an allegedly underage girl. Lil Rod also alleges that in September 2022, a violent incident occurred outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. He recalls hearing gunshots and finding a man named G bleeding out in the bathroom. Lil Rod says he applied pressure to G's wounds while asking others to call an ambulance. However, he claims that both Diddy and Justin disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy allegedly instructed everyone to tell the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting and even forced Lil Rod to lie, stating that G was shot outside the studio in a drive-by attack. Meanwhile, in a separate lawsuit, Grace Omar alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, with Diddy facilitating the assault. Diddy's sons have also reportedly tried to stop evidence from being released. In November 2024, CEO of Alter Ego Records Courtney Burgess claimed he had evidence against Sean Combs that was given to him by Diddy's late ex-wife, Kim Porter. Burgess alleges that Kim Porter provided him with copies of the freak-off tapes and an electronic copy of her memoir for safekeeping. Diddy's sons are allegedly working to suppress this evidence.
Why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him and you provide him with everything he wants. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson secrets? He got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody because his legacy, his manhood gonna be, and not only that, his brother no gonna look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God and
Puffy. You're talking about
Puffy.
Quincy, right?
I don't know. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know.
I'll be sure, son.
All I'm gonna say is, who's infatuated with another man's son like that? Like that seemed like grooming to me.
All these allegations have surfaced at a time when Diddy's relationship with his stepson, Christian, was already under scrutiny. Freddie P., an artist allegedly blackballed by Diddy, claims to have witnessed suspicious behavior between Diddy and Christian. According to Freddie, Diddy was grooming Christian, which he believes led Christian to adopt similar predatory behaviors.
So breaking news right now, Larry, I am just getting word. People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on suicide watch tonight. Do your sources confer the same information? Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the SHU have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they called his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on suicide watch. Another error that I guess some warden told you this. There are sentenced inmates there. They're called cadre inmates. They don't have to be white collar inmates, but they're doing maintenance on the building. And the problem why there's a lot of violence there, they have housing units. And they're mixing bank robbers, drug dealers, rapists with white collar people. And this is why Diddy, he can't go into a regular housing unit because somebody will take him out for sure. Somebody's gonna get a lot of street credibility out of this. People that are doing substantial time that know they're never getting out, they'll just kill the guy. No questions asked.
You think that they'd suck up to him because he's got a lot of money, and if he ever does get the commissary options, he would be able to help them.
Some people do because
I got to wrap it real quick.
Okay, some people do think that Diddy can help him, but this guy's going to be locked up forever. His case will probably take at least 3 years to litigate. He'll stay at MDC. There's rumors that he wants to go to Essex County Jail in New Jersey because he doesn't like MDC. He's a Marshals inmate. There's no way they're going to transfer him back and forth, I don't know, several times a week, 6 Marshals to do it.
Jersey.
He's out of luck.
Listen, I'm going to have you back. I'm going to have you back. I have so many more questions for you, but we've had a lot of breaking news in this show. So Larry Levine, thanks for that. I appreciate it.
The allegations of pedophilia against Diddy are expected to make his prison sentence even harsher. Pedophiles are often targeted in prison, and Diddy is not cut out for life behind bars. Reports have already emerged of Diddy crying behind bars. According to former inmate Harvey Levon, Diddy is a target for other inmates.
Combs isn't the only famous inmate to be housed there. We had Sam Bankman-Fried there, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell. They were all inmates there. Sean Combs is being kept away from the general inmate population. You say his fame makes him a target.
Yeah, sure. And not necessarily at the MDC only. I mean,
anywhere.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors. But the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, and indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very attractive target.
All right.
Obviously, they need to safeguard him.
This is a man accustomed to the very finest. He was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City, known for its luxury suites and exceptional food and wine, where one-bedroom suites start at $3,000 a night. He was probably staying in something larger. What is life like for him now at the MDC?
I would say 100% total culture shock. The MDC is, I've used the word austere a lot, but it is. It's austere, it's strict, it's impersonal, it's cold, and it is a very tough place to be detained.
Former Warden Cameron Lindsay, who previously oversaw the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, where Diddy is being held, has confirmed that Diddy's life will be in danger as long as he remains in jail. The MDC is the same facility where Jeffrey Epstein allegedly died under suspicious circumstances, and rumors suggest that Diddy may also be at risk.
Violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail. The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. I feel validated, a win for women all over the world.
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he uttered in court yesterday.
The conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center stand in stark contrast to the luxurious life Diddy once led. The MDC is notorious for its harsh conditions, which former inmates describe as hell on earth. Diddy reportedly experienced significant stress during the holidays, leading to a meltdown. He sought medical attention from prison guards, but his requests were denied.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life.
The chances of Diddy getting out of jail are slim to none. Victims of his alleged abuse are now stepping forward, abandoning anonymity, and providing detailed accounts of his predatory behavior. One victim, who was 13 at the time of the alleged assault, claims that Diddy raped her at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City in 2000. According to the lawsuit, several celebrities were present at the party and witnessed the assault, yet none intervened.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof drywall ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama has also filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old. She recently spoke to NBC News but requested anonymity.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
The woman, who has autism, claims she also suffered a head injury on the night of the 2000 VMAs. She says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York, to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour trip. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend, who has since passed away. She alleges that upon arriving in Manhattan, she spoke with Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after-party.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
She claims she was taken to a White House, where she spoke with musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
And raped me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the
At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. She then alleges that Combs and Jay-Z took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
After the alleged assault, she says she ran to a gas station and called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
With mounting allegations, shocking courtroom revelations, and even his own family seemingly turning their backs, the once mighty music mogul is now facing the fight of his life, both in court and behind bars. Will he manage to beat the charges, or is this the end of an era for Diddy?
As this case unfolds, it is becoming clear that Diddy's legal troubles are far from over. With mounting allegations, shocking courtroom revelations, and even his own family seemingly turning their backs on him, the once mighty music mogul is now facing the fight of his life, both in court and behind bars. Will he manage to beat the charges, or is this the end of an era for Diddy?